All right, guys, welcome back to Kamisha Reviews, the queen of reality TV, comedy, entertainment, celebrities, all the things. Let's okay. I, I didn't know I was gonna cover. I watched it yesterday, and there were some things that I watched that I wanted to speak about. Um, being that we watched Diddy, listen to Diddy most of our lives. Honestly, I don't. It's okay. Are we really surprised by this? And I'm not just saying black men in general who have all this power, all this fame. And you've heard stories even before this, not about Diddy, about other powerful people. This has been going on for a very long time. And if you guys were going to assume, and I mean people of color, that it's always been just a white man that's got all the power, and no. To be honest, um, men has had power, and some women, we're gonna be honest, they've used it to their advantage. Celebrities. The thing about it, we was actually go back to the past and talk to many people who was a part of casting process, a celebrity's assistant. There's always a scandal. A lot of times those days, people didn't talk about this type of stuff. I mean, you had celebrities, you got paid, your family was taking care of kid with the college, all kind of stuff. So a lot of people didn't say anything. Watching Danielle Smith talking about the fall of Diddy, I saw her many times. And she's a former Vibe editor in chief. Let's talk about that. A black woman editor in chief. Okay, I always saw her in pictures, not just Diddy, which is hip hop, but I did see her with pictures with Diddy before, smiling all the things, and she's always been such a strong, stoic person. So when I saw her get so emotional about him threatening her over a magazine cover. And I'm a black woman who's a journalist, and I never had to deal with anything like that, right? But why would anybody have to deal? Why would any human have to deal with anything like that? It didn't make any sense to me. The things that I saw in this documentary, it was awful. She was the first female to lead the magazine. Of course, I'm pretty sure it's pretty difficult navigating. You know what I'm saying? Because he's always everywhere. Think about it. He's always involved with something. And then check this out. Probably if he had an issue with you, can you imagine if he would go out of his way to make your life miserable? So in 1997, she selected Diddy for the cover of the magazine December 1997, January 1998 double issue. In the photos, Diddy wore white feather wings for an angel and a devil theme. Before the cover release, Combs contacted Smith requesting to see the cover to give his final approval. But the way the publication's policy, she could not show him the cover and denied it. She didn't care about who he was. He called a second time to see the images. She denied it again. Then he says he threatened her, have her in all kind of stuff. She was like, "Take it back, or she's gonna call her attorney." I'm not gonna do that. So of course she had to call her lawyer. He contacted Combs and was like, "Look, I'll call the police if you do not fax over an apology." 90 minutes to 2 hours later, he faxes over an apology. But of course, later on, he sent some guys to the Vibe office to come after her. They had to grab her and take her away to protect her. Like, that's crazy to me. And this is call out of some things in the interviews that I saw that was just like, oof. And I'm trying to use my words, choose my words because this is YouTube. There was a female student that had a horrible incident. This is allegedly while attending Howard University. Um, she did not show herself or anything. She said, in 1988, she overheard another female student. She heard certain noise screaming and things like that outside the dorm. And when she looked at the window, she saw Combs, who was standing there with the belt, telling her to come downstairs and into the, I think it was a basement, and started utilizing this as a weapon. Now, the student said that she and her friend yelled for him to stop, and he refused. Then took her to a place where nobody couldn't see. Um, so let me ask a question. At this time, he wasn't powerful. At this time, he wasn't the big mogul that he is now. Why is it at that time the women that saw these things happening? A lot of times you can say, hey, I didn't know what was going on. I had no knowledge of it. I really didn't know. I couldn't help. With that being said, you physically, and I'm not judging her, I'm asking a question. Physically, you see these things happening, you choose not to say anything. And what reason is that? And the reason why I say that is for him is validation. I could do what I wanted to. I pulled out a whole belt and use it as like I was somebody's father. Come on. And the fact of the matter is that he felt like I can get away with this because nothing's going to happen to me. No one called anyone. Nobody reacted. They just said stop. Okay. She went walking behind him. This is all allegedly. She went walking behind him after the fact. So there was this a charity basketball game, and 9 people weren't alive that day. And this is something I did not know about. December 28, 91, he put together this celebrity basketball game in New York City College with Heavy D. Combs, his entourage continued to, sell tickets at the door. When his team decided tickets were done, they closed the doors to the event, leaving several people, including people who were angry. Can you imagine? Ticket holders who had bought early tickets. See, this is the thing. I remember I look back in the day when you got tickets, you would pay extra to get your tickets early, and it was kind of like 2 lines, 2 groups. If you have a group of people who got their tickets early, those people should probably get a little more privilege. People who get the tickets just now, but didn't seem like it went that way. The people who got earlier tickets, when you get earlier tickets, you can come show up late because they're gonna let you in. You got an early ticket. I mean, this is back in the day. You could show up right on time, not stand in line or something. There's always some kind of privilege to getting the ticket early. This led to the crowd of forcing themselves through the doors of the college into the gym where the game was being held. It became a stampede where people were trampled over. 3 teenagers and 6 young adults. I think one of the guys he spoke. He said that one of the young ladies they saw a footprint on her head. I was like, ooh, because she obviously got trampled and stepped on. I mean, that's just awful. Of course, he also got on live at the time. It was a live broadcast. Oh, this got to be taken care of. I can't believe this won't happen again. Da da da. Now, do I think that was him and Heavy D's intention for that to happen? No, rest in peace, Heavy D. No, I do not. But that's just attachment of tragedy that follows him. You can say that. So, Diddy chased a concert promoter through Manhattan for wearing a Death Row Records t-shirt. Now, y'all remember that the East Coast and West Coast beef mess. I was younger at the time, but I remember because I was, I was old enough I was an adult, young adult, and I can remember it was crazy. I was dating my kid's father well, ex-husband at the time, and it was a lot going on. The music was crazy though. Let me tell you something. Music, if you was back then young, car, we were always bumping something good because music was hip hop was so good at the time. But Combs apparently was very aggressive, as you know, the West Coast and Suge and all these things going on. They was having their other things. Okay, of course, Tupac and Notorious B.I.G. Death Row Records. A lot was going on. Okay. Death Row Records was trying to do his East Coast, New Extension Death Row's East. I'm sorry, Death Row Records East, I'm sorry. While they were at New York Club, concert promoter DeWitt Gilmore took and wore a Death Row Records East t-shirt that was being passed around to people at the club. Now, I said this when I heard him say this. Now, obviously, while he was in the club, either somebody snitched because how is Combs seeing everything? No, he's not. Somebody was like, hey, they give him that t-shirt. I want to know everybody who wearing the Death Row East shirt. So after they did the club, Gilmore says Combs and his crew pulled up on him, started calling him a BI, all this stuff. You know, he tried to just escalate the situation, telling Combs, hey, I don't want no problems. But Combs did not stop. While he was in the car, more of Combs' entourage, surrounded him and started firing gunshots. He drove off, but he was being followed by his team, who tried to run him off the road. I mean, he said he was chased through a Manhattan and eventually drove into an island on the road. So this is the part that I thought, and I didn't think about it at the time. Kim Porter. When I watched Kim Porter, I can remember being young at the time, like naive as I was. We used to always say, "Oh, that's the love of P Diddy's life." But as a woman and as an adult, and as they told the story, as they actually broke it down, if she is the love of his life, wait a minute, I'm sorry. Hang on, y'all. I'm sorry, y'all. Got that spell right. I probably don't have to spell right. But anyway. Okay. So Kim Porter, beautiful, beautiful young lady. Mother of his 4 children. They said in the documentary she softened Combs up a bit and they started dating in the late 90s. They had their first child in 1998. People in his life said Combs referred to Porter as the one woman he has ever truly loved, though he treated her so poorly. A year later, he goes after Lopez and flaunted her around town like she was a new doll or something. It's crazy because they said he would show the club where she was at, all kind of stuff like that. I'm talking about Kim Porter. But you wanted J-Lo. This is what I think, honestly, like any other man, just because he got money, he's still a man. Kim Porter probably was the love of his life. She probably was the one that didn't take anything like any other woman did. You know what I'm saying? I think she probably took a lot, but I think she also was the only woman that put him in check. You know what I'm saying? And he probably the only one that he probably would actually bow down and listen to. Now, it's so much as far as involving Kim. It's really sad. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm gonna say this. I don't understand why there's so much coming out about the cheating. So one thing I'm gonna say that's really sad is that you would take Jennifer to all these places. You would take her to all these events. She's Puerto Rican. I'm not being funny or anything. But the black woman you kept in the dark. You had her on a pedestal. It ain't Jennifer Lopez's fault, no kind of way. But you had her up here. Okay? Remember, like she's the first person with a booty. Well, black women had booty for years. But you got Jennifer Lopez, you are going crazy over her. And the woman you say is the love of your life, after a year, you store her in the closet until you're ready to use her again. embarrass her, emptying her purse in front of people. Who knows what's in the purse? So he had an issue with, and I know I'm gonna say his name wrong, Steve Stout. He was sentenced to 1 day of anger management after assaulting him. During the late 90s, Combs started mingling with the Interscope music executive Steve, who was also the manager of Nas at the time. Combs got on the record alongside here. You can hate me. I don't want to sing it. Hate me now, even though I used to like the song. It's so crazy. The video was crazy. Recorded the music video for it. The video ends with Nas being crucified, and Combs did not like how he was being depicted and wanted it changed. However, the video ended up being service to MTV, which enraged Combs. In response, Combs went to Styles' office with his entourage and da 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 da. Beat with the phone and a chair. Mm-mm-mm. So I'm trying to figure out, after all of that, you get sentenced to 1 day of anger management. And you probably had somebody do that for you. Period. The story that really, well, it's a, I'm saying the story. There's one of these stories that really bothered me is Shine. I never knew the whole story behind it. I just always knew that everybody in hip hop always spoke about Shine and always spoke about it was Diddy's fault. That was always the narrative. I didn't know all the details until I watched the documentary, and it made me really sad to watch it. The man was so young. 1999 in New York City, his former driver Wardell says he witnessed seeing a weapon in Combs' hand while driving him and Jennifer Lopez to the club. When the stars arrived, investigative and journalist Peter Knowles says that Combs started to get negative attention from club goers. They probably was like, "You think you all that, da 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 da." Calling them names, pushing whatever. They didn't think he would do anything in the club. They just was like, "Hey, you here? You and who you supposed to be?" Shine grabbed the weapon from the waist and started da 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 da. Combs and Lopez, they fled the scene. The getaway driver and Combs told him, "Hey, would you hold this?" He did. He said, "I'll give you a bunch of money and all kind of crap." When he said, "I'll give my pinky ring as collateral," I was like, "Who he probably the Godfather or something?" Johnny Cochran defended him, and despite testimonies, he was acquitted. Now, the other one that really also bothered me is listening to D Woods talk about how Diddy was talking about hers. I watched the Making It band and those girls, Danny Kane. To this day, I had the music on my phone. And one of my favorites was Aubrey O'Day. And D, Aubrey followed me, by the way, on Twitter. Hey, Aubrey. But the part that pissed me off was that this man had so much control over women that was so young. You're developing even still. You have to understand, you could be 19, 18, 20. You're developing still. What you're doing at that moment, you're going to be a woman. I know people think, I'm a woman, I'm 19. I mean, to me, you're not a woman. You're a woman, but you're still developing. You still have things going on. You know what I'm saying? You're still learning. You're supposed to learn every day. Let's be clear. And when you look at D Wood, when she was like, I remember that scene. She was so small, but he was talking about her, and I'm just like, he was very hard on the women. And I looked at some clips yesterday on YouTube, and I really forgot. And which is crazy to me is that we all, as young girls or young ladies coming up, we watch these shows and we didn't say, "Oh my God, P. Diddy did her wrong." No, because girls wanted to get on the show. They were running to get on the show. If they could make it back in the band, they would have done it. Women probably were standing in line to audition, even after. And we didn't even see everything. People just always thought that Aubrey O'Day was just a problem because when he fired her and fired it, nobody was happy about that. And it wasn't like a lot of, because we didn't have what we have on social media now back then. But I was living. A lot of us talking about it months until we was mad. We didn't understand what was going on. But now that you see these things, I can see her saying, "I can't get with you. I don't want you." Mm-mm-mm. So D Wood says she would call the executive telling her she was a burger away from being fat, comparing her to other members of Danny Kane. She also said that Combs developed a really weird and strange relationship with Aubrey O'Day. Okay. It says since she was recognized for being one of the most talented in the group. Since I think they were all talented, to be honest. Aubrey D Woods, yeah, they breakout stars. I do agree with that. But when you are mentally messed up because of the environment that you're in, how could you become? Oh, I'm just breakout star. Some people probably could have done it, but they might have been like, I don't want to do anything with music and these people because this is a mess. And for all we know, he may have sabotaged their careers even after the fact. Look what he did. So many people. Okay. Um. Let's see. I think okay, so where O'Day revealed that Combs approached her during the outing, pulled her into him and said, "Now you are hot enough that I can boop you. I can boop you now." Mm, I gotta get my cussing thing, my beep noise. They were fired because they declined his advances. And I do believe that. So, wow. Music producer Little Rod Jones, who was hired to produce Combs' Love album, which was not a good album. Anyway, says he never been paid. Oh my God. He never been paid for any of his work and said it Combs would subject his employees to unauthorized and inappropriate situations. In one instance, Jones said Combs called his staff together for a meeting and said he wanted to have it in one of the bathrooms of his Los Angeles home. While there, Combs took everything off, got in the shower. Then Jones said he continuously made eye contact with him while he was. And in addition, Jones said he and other staffers were tasked with bringing him women of the night. One night, Jones woke up two women of the night in his room. Jones believed Combs gave him something in court because Combs denied all this. States that Jones' lawsuit is meaningless allegations and blatant falsehoods, full of hyperbole. Ooh, a lot of big words to say. You think he's lying. Documentary jumps back and forth, and to the early days or whatever. Let's go 2001. I mean, her name is Thalia Graves, who was a former girlfriend of one of Combs' colleagues. Says Diddy gave her some stuff and aped her. I hate these words because YouTube is just luring her to a studio. That day, Graves got a call from Bad Boy Studios that Diddy wanted to talk to her about her then boyfriend messing up at work. An issue Graves said she had previously discussed with Diddy. Later on that day, Combs pulled to Graves' home and offered her a drink while they were on the way to the studio. During the ride, Graves said she felt her face become numb and she started to feel lightheaded and woozy. When they arrived, instead of going to the studio, she remembers being taken to a lounge area where she started to feel even more fuzzy and started crying. The next thing she remembers is being slammed into a pool table with no clothes on. He took it twice in every way. Um, she actually completely came to. She got a cab and she went home. 3 days later, she received a call from Combs who threatened her, "Don't say anything," and hung up. She never told police. At the time, she was in the middle of divorce and a custody battle. The Cassie story is like there's no adjectives to describe the things that I saw in this documentary. There just isn't any good ones anyway. Cassie You know what? I'm gonna save Cassie's. I'm gonna do a part two because I want to talk about Cassie, and then we're gonna talk about the assistant. Yeah, I'm gonna come back and do a part two tomorrow because this is literally gross for me. You can talk about. Mm, I can't. All right. I can't even. This is gross. I think I'll take a shower after talking about this, even alone. All right, guys. I'll talk to y'all next time. Please be safe out there. Speak up. Look out for each other. And I know people can say it's easy for me to say, but not necessarily. I have my own experiences as well. You have to look out for each other. I'm not saying that you have to put yourself in harm's way. I'm not gonna say that, but just please look out for each other. It's